Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Kyle the Backwoods Butcher, and we're here at the body shop where we're covered in blood and community guidelines really don't matter. So, welcome back, everybody. I'm sure you're probably wondering, Kyle, why is it dark out and why are you on the back pad and why is the rolling cart out? You only ever do that when you're working on skulls. Well, here we are. So, these are 3 Scottish Highland skulls. A former customer of mine, someone who used to go to the USDA facility I used to work at, reached out. I used to do all of their Highland skulls. I probably couldn't even put a number on the amount of skulls I've done for them. And they haven't had anyone to do them. So they had a bunch that were looking really nice. She reached out during the middle of deer season and asked if I was taking any on, and I said absolutely not. And I told her to reach out in the spring. Well, it's spring, and she was on her way up from Cape Cod and was like, "Hey, would you mind doing a skull for me?" And I was like, "I guess so." And she goes, "Would you also mind doing the 2 skulls that are also in the back of the truck that I brought up on a whim just in case?" And I said, "Absolutely." So we're going to get this guy skun. The other 2 are skun out. We're going to get them in some water. We're going to kind of try and do... This video is just going to be getting this skulls prepped for the cleaning process. I could hold the footage and combine it all together and this, that, and the other, but then that's an hour video that I know the majority of you aren't going to go all the way through, so we're going to break it down into 20-minute clips. This is the only one we have to skin out, so I'm going to show you how I skin out beef skulls and get them prepped. We're going to do a little bit of a combo of massacration and simmer. So I do primarily simmering and pressure washing for all of my skulls. Just for my liking, that's what works out the best. There are people out there that will say that you will destroy the skull that way. I'm not going to say hundreds, but I've done quite a few skulls in this method. I've probably only had 1 or 2 really screw up, and that was my fault. That was not the process's fault. So the other 2 skulls that we have here, they've been skun out for a while. So whatever is left on them is dried. I'll pull them out, and I will show you them when we get them into the pot. And we're just going to get going with it. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll get this guy out, and we'll get going.
All right, we're gonna get going on cleaning this. I have filmed this part 3 separate times. First, my microphone died, then my smart tripod died. So now we're just back to dumb stuff. So, this will be the last time I say this. Actually, I'm gonna check and make sure I'm actually recording. I am, fantastic. What I've been trying to say is when you're working with beef, especially horned animals, a good sign of whether they're in good health and getting good nutrition is the smoothness of the horns. As you can see, these horns are absolutely gorgeous. What was this one's name? Celise. She has gorgeous horns. And as you can tell, they're very smooth. There's not a lot of rough spots, flaking, anything like that. Especially up here in New England, where we do get a lot of highlands and we do get a lot of harsh winters, and the hay isn't always fantastic sometimes, you will find horns that have a lot of flaking. They don't look symmetrical, things like that. These guys have always been absolutely fantastic. The ones in the back are just as beautiful, a little different shape. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start skinning this out. I always start right here at the nose, work all the way up here. What is tough about highlands, besides everything about them, is that their hair is super long. So your blades go really quick. So that is where, once again, the trusty Havalon Pro comes in. The link to this will be in the description. It's my affiliate link, so it helps out. If you buy it, I get a little kickback. So I'd appreciate it if you bought it. These have the replaceable blades. I buy all the blades in bulk, and you can just pop these in and out whenever you need them. So I'll go ahead, spin her like this, and I like to try and part the hair where I can, because like I said, you're just gonna be busting through blades with all of this hair. So I like to make an incision starting at the nose and just right down the center. It makes life a lot easier, for sure. All right, get over the crest here. So much hair. All right, so we got that started. Again, you don't want to dig in too deep. You don't want to scratch up the skull, but at the same time, it's really not going to hurt it. All right, so we got that opened up, and we are just going to start working down the sides. Now, I do not save the bottom jaws on beef. I like, and my customers like, to have just wall mounts. So they sit right flat on the wall. So you just start working down. Again, you want to avoid the teeth as well, because that will also dull your blade. And you're just going to start working it down. All right, so as you can see, we got all the hide off of this thing. So a big important thing when you're working with horned animals like this is you want to leave a little bit of hair around the horn cores, because again, these are made with the same, horns are the same material as hair and fingernails and things like that, so it's constantly growing. So right at the base is really, really soft. So if you start stabbing in there, you're gonna end up cutting the horn, then you're gonna have really wonky looking horn tip or horn bases and stuff like that. You don't want it. So with the way we're doing it, we're gonna be soaking these things for a while, and hopefully being the key word, these will work themselves off as is. The thing about maceration is it works better when it's warm. The best way would be to take some type of heating element, put it in this trough and get it up to like 80 degrees and let everything kind of just slow cook in there. Get real nice and stinky. We're not doing that. We're gonna rehydrate the skulls that are there. We're gonna get this thing wet and kind of start working the process. More than likely, I'm gonna have to get these guys on a simmer and beat these horns off with a sand hammer. So now that we've got all the hide off, we're gonna remove the bottom jaw, all the cheek meat, the eyes, all the extra fat. The name of the game when you're doing skulls, get as much meat off by hand as humanly possible. It will make your life 10,000 times easier in the long run. You're not gonna be sitting there power washing it, dealing with hot meat that smells like OxyClean, sitting there with a knife trying to cut everything off. If you do it now, it saves you later. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pop this bottom jaw off. It will make moving this thing around way easier. So the thing you're going to start with, you see there's the eye socket right there. Here's the cheek. And you can see where the meat starts right here. So we are going to make an incision there. Oh, poor old girl died with a little cud. And I need to change this. Put the blade counter to 3. That was terrifying. You probably couldn't see it on camera, and if you did, good for you. But that blade went about an inch from my face. A good pro tip would be to not lose the little blade grabber that comes with the Havalon Pro. So you're not sitting here using sheet metal shears to snap them off like I am. All right, so got that cut. Oh, that's so much better. It's a good move when you're going from skinning to fleshing to just switch your blades. It's gonna make your life easier. Pop this big old chunk of cheek out. And for those who have never eaten beef cheeks, you definitely should. Most slaughterhouses won't save them. And I get it, it's a pain in the butt. Because you're just literally pulling this part off the skull and that's it. And you gotta skin out the whole head just to get to it. Well, not the whole head, you can skin from the underside over and it's not awful. But most places still won't do it. But I mean, that's a sizable chunk of meat. That makes some good tacos. All right, I will get this side. How much movement we got in here. Also, be very careful with these teeth. They are very sharp. So I've cut myself on teeth more than a few times. Gloves are so important to this. Wear your gloves. You're dealing with a dead head. God knows what bacteria has been on this. This has only been sitting for a day, so that's not bad. But like the other ones, they've been dead for months. So you don't want to deal with the bacteria that's on these. That's how you get blood poisoning. And nobody wants that.
We're gonna have a bad time.
So, as you can see, cheek's gone. We separated this part back here. I got to get in here and open up some more of this. The jaw actually connects up here. There's a pocket of fat we'll be cutting out right here. But you can get your knife in and loosen all that up. Loosen up this way. Don't let your rolling cart roll away from you when you're playing with knives. Come on this side. Do the same thing. I really wish I had the microphone on for that. That is one of the most satisfying sounds. Honestly, it's one of the most satisfying actions. It makes you feel like an alien in a movie. You're just tearing somebody's head off. Like, yeah. All right, bottom jaw. We don't need it. So, man, this is gonna be. Again, I almost kind of wish I was cutting this carcass. This is some beautiful looking meat, and this is just on the head. So now we're just going to go through and pull off everything we can. All right, so as you can see, I went through everything. We pulled out the eyes and everything that connects to them. We pulled out this fat deposit here that also holds the muscle that helps support the lower jaw on both sides. We started opening up the nasal cavity. I don't worry about this too much. It usually starts getting going. The only thing that I also like to do, take this is gonna be your soft palate. So there's a couple ways of thinking that you can do this. You can just leave it, and when you go through the simmer and stuff like that, you can go ahead and pull it off. I like to just go ahead, put a couple score marks in it, let your water and everything get in there. There's no rhyme or reason. You're just cutting into it. So that way, when you do start boiling, all the water and everything gets right in there, and it starts moving everything and loosen everything up right off the bat. But yeah, so this is it. We went through 5 blades, which for a Highland, that's pretty average. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get this thing in the water. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna toss this in the pot, or I'm gonna toss it to the side. This one is not gonna go on the bottom. And we're gonna pull the other ones up and talk about them for a second. So let's pull this, put it here. And we don't really need to talk about both of them. We can just talk about one. Now these are one of those moments that you need to be glad you don't have smell-o-vision. This is pretty bad. This, from my guess, has been sitting hide off for a couple months, at least since deer season, because I'm assuming these are the ones that she was talking about when she called the first time. Thought that was skin, that's just a leaf. So, our main thing that we're gonna start with, yeah, these are bad. Even the eyes are, ugh. All right. I promise you, this next video that I do of these might make me throw up. If you are working or you want to do a Euro mount on a cow or a deer or things like that, if you're doing it on a cow, bite the bullet and do it. And just get it done. Or worst case scenario, remove as much meat as possible and the bottom jaw. As you can see, bottom jaw is still attached. Everything in the eyes and the muscles right here are still attached. They did leave the tufts around here, which is great. I'm sure you guys can see my excitement for this. But the reason I say leave the hide on the animal is because when the hide is on the animal, all of the fat and everything that's on the skull will stick to the hide as opposed to sticking to the skull. When you remove the hide off the animal, off the skull, now all the fat and all the membrane and everything that's on the skull sinks right into the fat. So we're gonna be doing some double duty on degreasing these bad Larrys. I might be having to pull some tricks out I haven't had to pull out for a long time. So that's why I love taxidermy, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and readjust you. Probably gonna change my gloves so I'm not touching my tripod that I use every day with these nasty hands. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so we filled this up Should put the Dawn in a little bit later, but it is what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and not spill this monster everywhere. I'm not gonna look at these guys for at least a week, if not 2. The reason I'm doing so is, again, I need all of the meat and all of the bone and everything, especially on those bottom 2, to rehydrate before I can take a knife to any of it. Because right now, it looks like Brendan Fraser should be looking for them. They're just completely mummified. So, yeah, we're going to have a good time. So this will be a very long drawn out series of videos that will be going for a while. And we're just going to kind of keep updating you as we go along. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, this will be coming out either tonight, which is Thursday, or tomorrow, which is Friday. So if you are watching on either Thursday or Friday, make sure you guys if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, because we have Meet the Critters, our podcast with Joe Blakesley over at Blakesley Acres, on Saturday. And it's just going to be me and Joe. We're just going to have just a butcher chat and hang out and see what happens. So it should be a good one. Well, I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.